ready? This was the first question that I asked myself when I received the invitation to be here 2 weeks ago. Am I ready to be here? Am I ready to give a speech in front of hundreds of people? Am I ready to inspire someone today? And then I realized that I've asked myself this question so many times in my life. I've become so used to it that I've doubted myself in almost every decision I made in my life. Starting with this one very important decision that will completely change my life forever. The story behind this decision starts in the 90s, where my dad was a successful businessman in the field of footwear in Europe. He made shoes in Asia and sold them all over the world. So after a few work trips to Asia, he started to have this special affection for Vietnam. From what he told me, Vietnam was the one country that treated him so well and that made him feel like home. And in 1999, when I was only 1 year old, things didn't go very well between my parents, and unfortunately they divorced. 3 years later, things didn't get any better, and the situation in Spain at that time was quite chaotic, was quite stressful. So my dad, my sister, and I decided that we wanted to go somewhere for vacation. And of course, my dad immediately thought of Vietnam, the country he treasured the most at that time. We intended to come to Vietnam for only a month, but after that 1 month, when that month was coming to an end, somehow my sister and I started to fall in love with Vietnam too. There was something so enchanting about this country. The people were so humble, so friendly, and loved our family so much that really made us very contented. So we all started considering the option of staying here and living here in Vietnam. So I remember talking a lot about it with my sister Andrea. We talked about whether we were ready to start a new life in a country that were 10,000 kilometers far from home. And I remember asking myself, am I ready to start a new life? Am I ready to learn a new language? Am I ready to go to a new school, to make new friends? But we were so happy at that time that all those questions were answered in a matter of seconds. And I remember on the very last day of that 1 month trip, we came to our dad and we told him that we don't think we want to go back to Spain. And guess what my dad did? He took our 3 return flight tickets and he ripped them off in front of us, saying, as long as my kids are happy. And maybe you think it's wild, it's crazy, but 20 years later now, we can say with certainty that it was the best decision of our life. I've never regretted this decision even a second. And sometimes I think, why can't life be as simple as when we are a kid? But then I look back and I remember that when you're a kid, you're fearless. You have nothing to be afraid of. Everything feels like an adventure, like in my case, starting a new life, learning a new language, new friends, new schools. They are all things that could sound amazing and wonderful, right? So that was when I realized that when you're a kid, it's so easy to be ready because you have nothing to be afraid of, and everything feels like an adventure and you're so eager for a new chapter in your life. This was the day when my family made that decision to stay in Vietnam. We went to the water park to celebrate it. And however, we cannot be kids forever, right? And now the question of us being ready or not comes with so much more worries and so many more responsibilities than when we were kids. And 2 years ago, I once again faced a decision that will completely or significantly change my life. The story to this decision starts in 2017 when I enrolled in the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam, one of the top universities in the country. I chose to pursue the major of international law because I believe that it would sharpen my mind and strengthen my understanding of an area that I believe would be beneficial no matter what you do in life. Like, I remember that I thought that every single job has its legal aspect, right? So having a basic understanding of law in general will definitely help you out in any situation. Fortunately, my 4 years of college went, I believe, what people call successful. I started off being elected the president of my international law faculty. I then participated and won national trophies in international law competitions. And I finished graduating valedictorian of my faculty, which was something that made my family and myself very proud. And to be honest, I really enjoy every single moment of my career, of my 4 years in college. And for most of the time, I thought that I would be pursuing international law for the rest of my life. Until one day, a friend of mine told me to download TikTok. I didn't know what it was at first, but I listened to her, I tried out, and I uploaded a few comedy videos and like this, playing the role of Vietnamese mothers and Vietnamese teachers. And to my surprise, they went viral. And boom, I had this flashback to when I was a kid. I had this huge passion for acting, for modeling, for hosting shows. But I never really considered this art path because I thought that there was no way that I could make a living out of it. But when these videos of me acting on TikTok got viral, it felt like my childhood dream was alive again. And it got even more exciting when I got my first 1 million followers, something that I would never dare to dream of. But the thing is, it came exactly at a time where people were expecting me to work for a very important law firm. So that was when the dilemma came. The dilemma between what made me happy and what made people happy. So what made me happy was that I grew my career as a content creator, an actor, a model, a master of ceremonies, and maybe have extra time for other activities I might enjoy as well. Versus what made people happy was that I followed my law path strictly, that I try hard to become a lawyer, and that I secure a stable job in the future. I remember spending days and nights overthinking, trying to find a way to combine both what I love versus what people love, only to find out that it could not work out that way. I remember asking myself again those questions of insecurities. Am I ready to follow my passion even if it might be a mistake? Am I ready to listen to my heart even if it means disappointing people? Am I ready to be myself in a world that wants me to become someone else? After days of worries, I decided to talk to my best friend, who is a bit older than me, but who loves me more than anything on earth, my dad. I told him everything that was going around my head at that time, and he responded me with exactly everything I needed to hear. Deja de preocuparte por complacer a los demás. Tu vida es sobre ti y sobre hacer lo que te haga feliz. Stop worrying about pleasing other people. Your life is about you and about doing what makes you feel happy. I never felt more relief in my life. It felt like the final push that I needed. I remember telling myself, if this is what I love and I even have the support of the most important person in my life, why would I care to seek validation from other people? And it was after that conversation that I decided to temporarily leave my law path and follow my passion. More than a year has passed, and now I've got more than 3 million followers on social media who love me and support me every day. I've modeled for great fashion shows. I've hosted shows with thousands of people. And I've also had time to teach English, Spanish, and Vietnamese, which is something that I really love. And I've also had time to coach students from my faculty to participate and win national trophies, just like I did in the past. So now I know I'm only 24, and I know I still have so much more to learn in the future, but I consider myself successful. Not because of what I'm doing, but because of how I'm feeling doing what I do every day. For me, if there's one thing I've never changed my mind about, is the definition of success. For me, if you are happy, you are successful, as simple as that. And for me, nothing is as important and valuable as achieving happiness in the one life that you've got to live. And if there's something that I've learned through these whole chapters of my life, is that you may doubt yourself so many times. You may ask yourself plenty of times, am I ready for this? Am I ready for that? But the best will come when you don't hesitate and you follow your heart. And don't worry of making mistakes. It's okay if you make mistakes. You have the chance to try again and again until you make it. And believe me that you will not regret making mistakes. The only thing you will regret is not taking the chances you wanted just because you fear the future or fear what people might think about you. It was daring to take life-changing decisions that really made me who I am today. A joyful person who enjoys and cherishes every single moment of his life. And today, that person has been given the opportunity to stand here and give you his best advice to achieve happiness. Dare to follow what your heart desires. Thank you very much.